Hey everybody, Danny J here. It is Capes Not Included right here on the DJB Productions Network. Make sure you're subscribing. Hit the subscribe button down below. And make sure you are hitting the notification bell as well. We want to make sure that everybody's having fun here. I'm just focusing this camera. Here we go. And making sure everybody knows what to do here. We're going to have to talk about a lot of stuff today. San Diego Comic-Con just passed, so we're going to recap what they went over there. So the big news is the Marvel Phase 4. We're also going to talk about the DC Universe streaming service and its days being numbered. We're also going to talk about the Arrowverse today. Now, we had some technical difficulties coming on a little bit earlier, so I do apologize about that. Right now, I got my good friend Matt Sutter. Matt, welcome on to the show.
Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Very good, very good. A lot of big stuff. We haven't been on for a while because some of the other shows on the network have been taking up a lot of the time. But right now we are dedicated for Capes Not Included. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff here right now and a lot of big stuff. In the San Diego Comic-Con, we had Kevin Feige of Marvel announced the Phase 4. And behind you, Matt, you have the listing of the Phase 4 lineup. I'm going to click on you right now there. As you can see, there's a number of shows there. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is that if we look at your listing there,
and we'll just slide this up. I'll disappear behind it for a little bit so that we have a good
there we go
list.
Now, what we're looking at here, here's the thing. The Fox merger happened really not that long ago. And I'm sure it happened long after anything content-wise that was due for the Comic-Con, it wasn't in time for. So what we look at here are only about 3 movies. And the rest of them are actually TV shows that'll be featured on the Disney Plus streaming service. So obviously I don't consider a TV show Phase 4. You know,
no, that's a pretty shoddy way of calling it Phase 4. I mean, I could see if the balance of TV shows to movies was flip-flopped. You know, if you're talking 3 TV shows and 7 movies.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense, I think. But you know, and obviously too, it's weird. I mean, obviously you want to stay relevant. You want to make sure that you're keeping your product out there. But at the same time, at this point, I don't think that's a problem for somebody like Marvel.
Right. Well, you know what?
Like somebody's going to forget about Marvel in a span of a couple of years, you know, while you're trying to develop more and more of these films. I think more than anything else, based on, you know, Marvel fans are going to want to have more feature films.
Well, that's
if we're talking about TV shows, you're going to want something that, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, I'd love to see these shows being, instead of on their own streaming service, the amount of streaming services out there is getting ridiculous.
Well, that's the truth. And what's happening is, and I'm trying to fix my cam as I'm doing the show, and I do apologize.
Yeah. The first time in the home studio, we'll have to excuse you for that.
I'm in a home studio and I'm trying to figure everything out. But the scenario is that when you're talking about these streaming services, they are in abundance. I mean, you have the Disney Plus streaming service, you have the DC Universe streaming service, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. You also have Netflix, Hulu, etc.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is the nature of the business nowadays where streaming services are becoming the norm, and everybody's jumping on it. But I think what we have here is that you have a deadline for Comic-Con to get what you're going to get in there. And there's no way in hell Marvel, especially considering what the MCU has done, is going to there and show a lackluster thing. They're like, we got to show something, you know, whether or not it's going to change, it's subject to change or whatever. We got to show something because of the fact that, hey, we're Marvel, you know what I mean? We got to do something. And the problem we have with it is that out of everything you see there, to give you an idea, Blade, which is going to be a reboot, which is going to be a really highly anticipated reboot, but that's not even going to be on Phase 4. It's going to be in Phase 5. Okay, so once again, there's your first, BS thing about this Phase 4 lineup. The other scenario is that out of everything you see there, there's four movies and 5 TV shows.
Yeah,
and I don't consider like the TV shows Phase 4.
Yeah. I think the only ones we have really on here as movies, we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
That's a feature film. Thor: Love and Thunder. That's going to be a feature film. Shanghai and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's going to be a feature film.
Right.
And then we have Blade, which we then have already said is not going to be Phase 4.
No, it's going to be Phase 5. Now you're looking at Loki. You're looking at
Black Widow. I'm sorry, Black Widow.
Black Widow, right.
Black Widow.
You got Loki, Hawkeye. And I forget about the Eternals, but yeah, you have the Eternals. What if Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision are all television shows that are going to be a part of the Disney Plus streaming service? Now, keep in mind, too, that I'm still playing with my damn studio here. Keep in mind, too, that, obviously, they're going to be in canon with the movies. Okay.
Yeah.
So that you have to understand. Yeah, you do have to understand that. But what's going to be a scenario is that coming in, there's so much talk about with the Fox merger. We have the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
We have
hopefully that won't screw it up.
Right. We have with the MCU, everybody's pretty confident that we're going to have a decent
Fantastic Four bat. Now that's back in the hands of Marvel. It's going to be good.
Right. Now, with the X-Men, Kevin Feige said, you got 5 to 10 years before we do anything. And I kind of get that because you're talking about really excluding yourself from the what was happening with Fox, what has already been shown, etc.
You give that time to kind of mellow out and just kind of give everybody a break. So when you bring it back in, you're going to bring it back in fresh. So
right, exactly.
Yeah. So if you do it now, it's still too close to what Fox did, and it's going to throw the super casual fan, totally off, and they're not going to understand what's going on, and it's going to confuse the super casual fan. Now, as you and I have discussed a lot of time, obviously, I'm not as deep into the comic book universe as you are, but even to somebody like me, I know enough that, again, I would understand what's going on and something new. I'm going, okay, I can forget about all that. That was then, this is now, and it is now, again, a reboot in the hands of Marvel. But those people just kind of like going, okay, yeah, I kind of recognize the names, and it sounds like it might be a cool movie, will get confused and maybe not go say it.
Well, and here's the deal. As much as I like Scarlett Johansson, I love her to death. And her take
what man doesn't?
I know, right? But her take on the Black Widow character has been iconic. Now, we could say that because she's the only one who did it. Okay. Yeah. Somebody else could do it better. And we're like, holy shit, I didn't think it would be better, but it is.
Yeah.
But we only have one person to base it off of. Now, with that being said, though, we're talking about a prequel. We're talking about how she became the Black Widow, how she got to the point of why her death in Endgame was so like epic, and why it was so game changing to the movie.
Yeah. But she has a lot of sins to atone for still, and that's her way of doing it.
Now here's the problem I have with it, though. Atomic Blonde pretty much almost did the same thing. Red Sparrow, which I did not see, but all I had to do was see the previews, did the same thing. So the Black Widow story in a generic format has been retold over different characters that are not even like Marvel or DC. Okay. Yeah. So right then and there, although I want to see more Black Widow, I want to see more of what she does as an agent.
Mm-hmm.
I've already seen this story in a sense, in a generic sense. Is it going to make it lackluster for me? Is it going to be something where I'm like, it was great, she did a great job, she was doing her thing, but you know what? Charlize Theron did the same thing in Atomic Blonde. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I watched like she was really. They liked her really a lot in Lucy. Did you see Lucy? I don't know if you saw Lucy.
I saw Lucy, yeah, which was a very trippy movie anyway. But
if you, and I'll say this now, and you might say, "Oh shit, you're right." That was a female version of Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That movie almost like scene for scene was Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
Only they made a girl in there instead of
yeah. And how the transformation occurred, it was just different, but it was essentially. But I mean, although you can say this now, I mean, essentially Hollywood's been giving us the same stuff over and over and over again anyway. So I mean, it really comes down to how well is the writing.
Well, that
if you're going to retell the same story, it's almost like it's almost kind of like when you talk about comedians. When you talk about certain things, like, oh well, yeah, there are certain things in the comedian world. Oh well, so and so stole a joke from somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, well, if the other guy told it really well, I probably would have heard about him.
Right, exactly.
So somebody else comes along and says, this guy's really not going nowhere, because like they talk about with comedy, timing and delivery is everything.
Well, yeah.
When you talk about a movie, writing and delivery is everything.
Well, here's the factors that factor into play. And you have to kind of take yourself out. You can't be a fanboy when you're factoring this stuff in. You know what I mean? I'm a student of film. I'm a student of that genre and the writing process and stuff like that. So I have to kind of be unbiased and say, even though I love this, I'm going to try and pick it apart. You know what I mean? Because I need to prove that it's good, or say, well, they kind of left me at the altar a little bit. And the first thing that's going to come to mind with me now, granted, I have not seen the film, and when it comes out, I might be like, oh my God, it was amazing, but coming into it, knowing that there's already, excuse me, two other actresses, not in comic books, telling the same exact story.
Yeah.
Okay. Now am I going to go into it and say, all right, well, how are you going to keep me interested? Besides the fact that it's Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. You know what I mean? Charlize Theron was just as hot in Atomic Blonde. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Jennifer Lawrence, she's another looker. She's no Scarlett Johansson, but she's another looker. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, like, if you want to go by the physicality of just this really hot spy chick, yeah, sure. There's a dime a dozen, unfortunately. Now, the only thing pushing this movie is that it's MCU oriented. So we already are established with her in the MCU storylines in the movies. All right. She just passed away. So now we're seeing how she got there. So, I mean, yeah, it can be interesting in that sense.
And the other thing you always worry about too is with a prequel.
Yes.
You already kind of know where it's going. So the story better be on point.
Yes.
I know that's what a lot of people had a problem with if you look at stuff like Star Wars, with the prequel trilogy.
Yes.
We already know that this little kid is going to become Darth Vader.
Yes.
We want to see the story of how he became Darth Vader. And we got a mediocre telling of that story.
Well, we got him starting off on Sesame Street, and then he
and like I said, but that's where we said it comes down to the writing. If those were written, if Lucas hadn't said like, well, kids love Star Wars, so I'm going to try and include more stuff for kids, and you have that whole Jar Jar Binks character, that was the first problem right there. And unfortunately, you make him so tied into everything, it's like he's got to kind of stay there to a certain degree.
Well, to a point, I mean, but
the writing overall was pretty mediocre up until, again, maybe like Revenge of the Sith. That last one was actually fairly solid, but
didn't they blame Jar Jar Binks for shit happening at the end? Like they didn't.
Yeah, that was one thing I liked that they did was the fact that basically him being so stupid, he was able to be easily swayed by Palpatine to be like, yeah, you should vote for so it's kind of like you make him the fall guy.
And that's exactly what they did. They brought him in thinking he was going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars because it was a kid. Scenario. They wanted to sell merchandise.
They go, oh, this guy, everybody hates this guy. So you know what? We're going to give him a real good reason.
You know what? I'm sorry, buddy. It didn't work out. You're the reason the war happened, you son of a bitch.
But anyway, but either way, but back to the MCU. But like you said, we need it. Just needs that good story. If you don't get a good story, you're going to sit there and be like, okay, well, I could have basically read the comics and gotten the same feel.
Right. And if you notice in Phase 4, you don't see anything from Spider-Man. Okay.
No. Disappointing.
Right. And that's not to say that won't be in Phase 4, though. That's my point.
Yeah. I mean, this is what they have right now. And again, there could be stuff added. But like I say, you really, when you look at the names in here.
Right.
Let's talk about just the casual comic book fan. The casual superhero fan.
Right.
What names are popping out at you?
Thor. That's it. Thor. Loki. I don't necessarily know.
Maybe Loki, because if you're kind of Thor, you kind of know Loki.
Right.
But as far as again,
let's give Wesley Snipes
a casual superhero fan initially. Now, thankfully, a lot of the MCU movies, and when Fox was doing, X-Men, it introduced me a lot deeper into these characters, and obviously, having somebody like you as a friend who was deeper into this, it gave me a better base of reference. So going in, it made a lot more sense. But like I said, to the casual superhero fan, Thor pops out at you.
Well,
if you throw Spider-Man in there, everybody and their mother knows who Spider-Man is.
Here's the funny thing is, though,
a comic book in your life,
if you look at that,
you know who Spider-Man is.
Go back to Phase 3, right, which we just ended, right?
Yeah.
And on there was a canceled film, which was for the Inhumans. Now, the Inhumans ended up being a failed ABC TV show. Okay, just wasn't done well. Fans did not like the effects, didn't like the storytelling, that type of thing. It just wasn't presented correctly. Okay, which it could have been an okay thing to watch, but it just wasn't done right. And understand that a lot of these movie proposals are due to the lack of what they want. We didn't have mutants, so we're going to do the Inhumans.
Yeah.
We don't have this, so we're going to do that. And they got to make do with what they have. Now, the Eternals, I'm not a big, I know what they are, but I'm not a big fan or whatever. But they are.
For me, again, casual. I've never even heard of the Eternals.
Right. And I had to look it up because I'm not that big of a fan of that. I didn't stay and just read comic books all my life. I didn't do that. Yeah. But with the Eternals, they are predecessor to human beings. Okay. They walk the earth. Right.
Sounds interesting.
They're the god of gods. Right. They're the creators in a sense. Okay. So they're the reason why human beings are around. They're the reason why we have established life on Earth. That type of thing. So you're going to now go into these gods who were the beginning, the creators, and their cosmic type of like influence on the universe. Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy. I wasn't a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, but when you watch, you're like, oh, wow, they're tied up into a lot of shit. And they made in Guardians of the Galaxy what was exciting about the first three, episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's really what they did, and it was like something to do.
And I think what really was great, because again, Guardians of the Galaxy was one that I really wasn't aware of until the movies came out. But you had some great characters there, and it's again what makes a good overall, whether it be a movie, a TV show, a comic book, or combination of them. The fact that you have a really cool group of characters that are so different from each other that it truly, again, it comes as a team. Everybody plays to the other one's strengths.
Yes.
And truly comes together as a team, and you see how they build as a team as they find out who has the good ideas, who has the bad ideas, who can do what, and how can you utilize them to achieve your goal.
Exactly. And that's the kind of storytelling people are looking for. James Gunn coming back in because he was fired for a moment. It delayed the release of Guardians 3 because he went ahead and did the second Suicide Squad for DC.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that'll be better because James Gunn's a great director. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're hoping that this second Suicide Squad, because the first one was very didn't really care one way or the other. You know what I mean? It wasn't, you had the characters and you had no story. And that just killed it. You know what I mean?
That was one I started watching it. I didn't see it in the theater. I started watching it on television. It came on cable. I DVR'd it. I'm like, oh yeah, this would be cool.
Yeah.
And it's like I started watching it one night and had to stop. And it's like I never got back around to seeing it.
Yeah, and I'll let you in. On the.
And then I changed cable company. Actually, I had a problem with my cable box screwed up, and I had to replace my cable box. So of course, I lost everything on my DVR.
Right.
So it's like going, well, and again, clearly I didn't find it interesting enough to go back and say I want to find it again.
Right, exactly, and that was a problem because it was very lackluster. And you're hoping that some of these other movies won't fall into that thing. You need that excitement. You need to pull you through, especially since, let's face it, the moviegoer, in a majority of sense, is not always the devout comic book fan.
Mm-hmm.
It is the slide by night. I'll go see a superhero movie.
Yeah, the previews look cool. It looks exciting. It looks cool. Looks great effects.
I like action. I have no idea what I'm watching, but this looked fun. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. And this is my biggest thing about any diehard fan. Whenever they watch a movie and they critique a thing, and it could be maybe and we heard it when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably the best Batman it ever was.
Yeah.
But when Mr. Mom was Batman, we all went,
what?
What the fuck are you talking about? This is Mr. Mom. How is he going to be Batman? But hey, he ended up being the best one. Okay. So that being said, a lot of times the diehard fans are like, oh, I hated this and I hated that. A movie, and not to get even off subject, but Marvel related, a movie that did not get a tremendous fan reaction to was The Punisher with Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
Now,
and it was such a great movie.
It was a great movie. Now they're like, oh, it's in Florida, it's not in New York. I don't fucking care. Oh, It's not gritty, he's too emotional. I don't fucking care. All right. They told a story from beginning to middle to end. And they gave you a story where, as a film major, the biggest thing that you can do, and this happens to me as a DJ, is if you can invoke emotion in some way, shape, or form, then that's it. And I felt sorry for the Punisher in that movie. This man lost everything. And towards the end, he's ready to put a bullet in his head. And I'm like, I feel so hurt for this guy. I want to hug him myself because I'm like, Jesus Christ, this poor son of a bitch, what he went through. And
it's not even that he just lost everything, but he saw it all happen.
Yes, and then redeems himself.
It's bad enough you find out, oh, well, somebody killed your wife and kid. Versus somebody kills your wife and kid right in front of you, kills your entire family right before your eyes.
And then here's the deal, too. He goes through all that. He kills everybody, right? He gets major redemption points. But guess what? At the end, he's still by himself. He's still alone. He still doesn't have his family. His father's dead. His mother's dead. His wife, his kids are dead. They're all still dead. It didn't change anything. So this guy's like, what in the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? And that's the scenario. And I was like, I felt so bad for him. And there's not many movies out there that make you actually feel that emotion. Like, we're witnesses. We witness these movies on this screen, and we sit there and say, well, that was a good story. Oh, that was funny. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Oh, wow, scary, scary, scary. But when you're looking at these characters, like they're real people, and that you want to talk to that person, you want to interact with that character because they touched you in a certain way, that's when you have a great movie. And and despite what any of the fans said, that was a great movie. One that I always go ahead. I'm sorry.
And what made it great too was the fact that, and it's something that again the filmmakers are going to have trouble doing, and it's something that they're always going to try and hit. They're trying to hit the broadest audience they possibly can get and make the most amount of money.
Yeah.
For obviously the studio, the directors, the producers, and the actors. But if you make it so that it is so hardcore, dead in, 100% follows the comic book, you might lose some of that.
Well, to give you an idea, Punisher Warzone, which was the follow-up to Thomas Jane's, and it was not a sequel.
It was not a sequel, yep.
It was just another, I guess in a way, it was a reboot, in a sense.
Yeah.
You didn't get the origin story. He's already the Punisher at this point, right? And what you got was a comic book movie, right? Of Punisher. And it was so graphic. And it was so like, bah, 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 and like all the characters were dead on for what's in the comic book. But there was no emotion.
Exactly.
And Ray Stevens, who played the Punisher in Warzone, who was in Thor eventually. He was one of I forget the guy's name, but he was Valdorf or whatever the fuck his name is. But he played a scary Punisher, but it was like watching the Terminator.
Yeah. This is a guy who's dead inside. He's literally dead inside. It's not this emotional guy who's now, again, as we get at the end of the original with Thomas Jane, how it's like, this is not vengeance, this is punishment. And this is a guy who is going and doing things. So it's like, hey, I'm already hurting. I know you're hurting. I'm going to get my hands bloody for you because I feel your pain.
Yes.
Warzone, we get a guy that says he feels slightly guilty that he's killed an undercover police officer.
Right.
That's the most emotion we get out of him.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, I'm sorry, and I'm going to try and do whatever I can to make this right. But this is not a guy who's now on the widow's doorstep crying, saying, I know what you feel because I feel it. And it's like, we get a guy who's pretty much, like I said, he's dead inside. He is now a machine. He is just, I kill the bad guys. I kill the guys who escape punishment.
But even Johnny Five had a pulse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as a machine, he was dead. He was a dead machine.
He's just kind of like, he's almost like an Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I wasn't a fan of Warzone, and that was a comic book-esque movie. Now, Todd McFarlane, when he made Spawn, which I liked the Spawn movie.
I did too.
Forget about how bad the effects were and something. I mean, you're just watching a movie. Yeah. I can't do those effects. I can't make the bad effects, let alone the good ones. So what the fuck do I care if the effects are bad or good, right? I just want to see the story. And Todd McFarlane said, you cannot tell 5 years of comic book story in an hour and a half.
Nope.
You can't.
Nope.
So you have to not only get yourself a story, but you also have to make sure that the people that are not watching, that are not reading comics, I should say, can follow along and like this movie. Because at the end of the day, when you're making a movie, you're trying to make money. Okay? Artistic shit's out the window when you're going blockbuster movie. Go show it at Sundance if you want to get like jeers for your creative talents.
Yeah.
But if you have it in a motion picture, you're trying to make money. So guess what? I want comic book guy to go see my movie. I want comic book guy's girlfriend, if he has one, to go see this movie. I want comic book mom and dad to go see this movie. I want kid to go see this movie because guess what? They're all tickets.
Yeah.
They're all
the guy that has no idea what it is, but he saw the trailer on TV and went, "That looks badass," to come and see the fucking movie.
Yes, exactly. So you have to kind of like, because I get a lot of flack. I'm not a huge fan. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a fan of Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and everybody hates that movie. Ben Affleck hates that movie, and he was Daredevil.
We liked it.
I had to talk to Ben and say, Ben, really, it was a good movie. Don't shit on it so much. You know, it was a good movie. And the problem I have with a lot of the people that say they don't like it is that they give you the director's cut, which is only about 40 minutes longer. They're like, oh, it's a different movie altogether. The fuck it is. All right, yeah, it gave me a little bit more, but it didn't sit there and say, oh, this is a straight to video versus a motion picture release for 40 minutes. I mean, come on, stop it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a good movie. It got the point across, blah, blah, blah. We had some good music in it. We had Elektra, who was hot. Ben Affleck, I think, played him. What was wrong with Ben Affleck playing a blind fucking lawyer? The only problem with that movie was the stupid fighting scene that they had at the schoolyard, right? Because it made no sense.
Yeah.
Okay? That's really the only difference. Otherwise, everything was fine. Okay. So, with that being said, you know, but yeah, talking about this phase 4, I think what we're getting is the beta version. This is what the concept was before Fox merger went through. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see things substituted out. You're going to see Blade removed from that list because it's phase 5. And you're going to see, I think, Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four is going to be the next one to come in because I think it's going to be the easiest thing for them to do because you can now call on Reed Richards, who's the other smart guy in that universe. Okay. Tony Stark is gone. You know, Reed Richards would be the next go-to guy along with David Banner. Okay. Yeah. So that's going to be the thing. And it's going to make it easy for them. They can very easily either tell an origin story the way it is, or they can revamp the origin story to kind of fit with the multiverse and stuff like that. I mean, I don't want to do that, but they can if they want to.
And the other thing is, as you know, if with what you have by doing the TV show on a streaming service is you can kind of feel out the story a little bit too. You know, you can kind of slowly roll out and be like, okay, what are people liking about the show, the series, and what are they not liking? And tweak that and eventually get that. That could be your lead in to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier feature film. You know,
exactly.
You know, your WandaVision leading into a feature film, Loki leading into a feature film, Hawkeye again leading into another feature film. Yeah, so you can kind of test the waters, see what people are really wanting, and then you can also sit there and go like, okay, well this will work as we keep this as a series because we don't feel that it's going to work as a feature film.
Well, versus, this is going to
work, and you can start putting the money where you really think you're going to get the best return on it.
Right.
And as you said, it seems like it's almost rushed. Like, okay, Comic-Con's coming out, we got to get something out there. It's almost kind of like you know, being in college and you have like an easygoing professor and be all like, this paper is going to be a total piece of crap, but I got to show something to the professor.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And the professor's kind of cool enough that he'll look at it and be like, you can do better. Give me a rewrite.
And here's the deal too. They are not going to have projects in line until the lines are dotted and everything like that, and it's signed. They're not going to sit there and say, yeah, we're proposing a Fantastic Four movie, but then all of a sudden the Fox merger doesn't go through. You're like, yeah, that's now off the table. You know what I mean? They're not going to
piss people off. It's like, you promised us something and you're taking it away versus this is all we're getting. And then suddenly they come along and be like, oh, no, that's not all you're getting.
Right, exactly. And because let's face it, if you look at this lineup here, and I'll go through with you here. We have
I'll hide myself again here. So
hide yourself again so I can go through this. with Black Widow, this is a prequel. We already know about this. This is going to be good.
Yep.
Now, Doctor Strange, this is going to be what they described as the MCU's first horror film. So the adversary in this movie, I believe, is going to be Nightmare, which is a character who goes into your dreams and stuff like that. Almost like a intruder. And it creates, so it's going to be a horrific Doctor Strange movie. And Doctor Strange can be real trippy and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be highly anticipated out of everything.
It sounds like again, like, because you remember too, as you know, Phase 3 was going through, and I told you, it's like, you know, I wasn't familiar with Doctor Strange that much. Like, do I need to see this before I see Infinity War or whatever? And you're like, yeah, you need to check it out. You know, because it's going to give you a better idea. Even if you don't find yourself really into the character, it's going to give you at least a better idea of what this guy's able to do, and I can understand.
And you know why?
From him.
Because you're going to see him. You saw him do a lot in Infinity War and in Endgame. Yeah. And you're like, well, all right, I see this guy's pretty much he's a badass, but why is he a badass? That's why you want to see his original movie. Doctor Strange is a very, very interesting character. He really, really is.
And I say, it was one of those things, a character that I wasn't as familiar with, and then by seeing that, and again, that origin movie was very, very trippy, you know,
right? And
not having basis, it was a little bit hard to follow at certain points, but thankfully they did a good job of tying it all together at the end and really kind of, you know, even if you didn't kind of quite get certain things in the middle,
right?
You still then understood. Now it's like, okay, yeah, it's almost kind of like living in a dream state, you know, But it was like, I like this character. And I even said to you after I saw it, going like, oh, I can't wait to see him and Tony Stark sharing screen time together.
Exactly. And it was like gold. It was literally gold. Now, we go back. Duck your head out of there again.
Yeah. Hey,
you keep going.
Let me go ahead. Boom. Hang on.
No, you're still there.
There you go.
There we go. Now,
all right.
The Eternals, I already went over it briefly. If you need some kind of backup, go on Wikipedia. Look up Marvel's Eternals, and you'll get an idea what it is. Like I said, that's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy type of vibe, a more understanding of the universe, okay, and these characters from the beginning. So that's going to be the one that could be a dark horse, because that could be an amazing movie if they do it.
And now, just from what you're saying, explain, I said, I'll go back. I can look it up, but it sounds like it's got a very cool concept, and you can take it a lot of different directions.
Yes, and you really can, and it could lead you in the future in a lot of different things, especially whatever their interaction will be. Now, Thor: Love and Thunder. This is a storyline coming from the comic books where Jane Foster becomes Thor. Okay, I know it happened. Once again, I'm not a huge comic book aficionado when it comes to a lot of these comics, but that's a thing where Jane Foster became Thor for a period of time. And they brought in Natalie Portman, who is so hot. She's so underrated hot. It's ridiculous. Just to give her that compliment, because I saw her come on the Comicon stage, and I'm like, my God, is that a beautiful woman?
Yeah.
But she comes on. She's going to be Thor, which will be kind of cool, and that's kind of leads you into the in the comic books. Thor is now a woman, and it's not Jane Foster. They just did a gender swap. So it kind of combines the two in a sense, but this was a legit comic book story where Jane Foster became Thor. So you're getting something legit. You're not getting something where it's like an amalgamation of two storylines or something like that. So that's going to be kind of cool. And now this Shang-Chi, I have no effing idea about Shang-Chi at all. I am not going to lie. If you know about Shang-Chi, in the comments below, feel free to comment. I mean, we are looking for anybody who knows stuff. Put your information on there. We love it. But what we are going to see in here is the actual Mandarin. The Mandarin is a longtime Tony Stark adversary, someone who practices sorcery. And then what it was, the concept was, it was always science versus sorcery. Two conflicting scenarios. And that's what the Mandarin was. He was. And that's why it was so cool, because he was almost the exact opposite of what Tony Stark stood for. And in Iron Man 3, we got a fake Mandarin. right?
Yeah.
He was an actor and let everybody down. Everybody's like, what the fuck is this? But now we're supposedly getting the actual Mandarin in this Shang-Chi movie. It'll be a martial arts epic. So it'll probably be cool. My concept or my scenario would be how it will fit into the MCU and with everything else that's going on. I don't know, because quite frankly, I would not want a standalone story that just happens to happen during
Within the Marvel
happening
universe.
in the MCU. Yeah, right, exactly.
We definitely need some tie-in to move that forward, I think.
Exactly. Now, with that being said, the next thing I want to jump on to is if you notice, there was no DC movie mentionings or anything like that at Comic-Con because there really wasn't much going on. But I want to talk about the DC universe. Now, I don't have all the information. I want to put that out there right now as a disclaimer. But the scenario is that Warner Media, which is Time Warner that was then recently purchased by AT&T, they came in and they made discussions saying that they are not onto the whole DC Universe streaming service thing. And at first we're saying that we're looking to revamp this and we're looking to do this. But then it was rumored that they might actually just cancel the service altogether. It's only out less than a year. And what DC does do, where they lack in movies, they excel in television. Big time. Their most, I guess, acclaimable stuff is the Arrowverse on CW, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But with the DC universe, a lot of content on there. They put on the virtual comics, so you can watch the comics on there. They put on the old shows like Wonder Woman, like Batman and Robin, 1966, that type of thing. So they have that stuff on there. And then they have their original content. Their first show they started off with was Titans, which is based off the Teen Titans. Okay. Now, this show, in my opinion, okay, I think it's the weakest of everything they did. Now, it's sad. It's the first one they did, but it is the weakest of what they've done. And it just seemed like with this show, it was very apparent that we were trying to push the envelope. And they pushed the envelope in an obvious manner. Say, ooh, they said the F word. Ooh, he said F Batman. Ooh, like you're getting the shock.
You're trying too hard, kind of a thing.
And they really did. They tried too hard with it, in my opinion. They tried too hard with it. The story was okay. I mean, I liked it. I watched it. But you can thank Cartoon Network executives who decided to run Teen Titans Go in hour-long, like 2 to 3 hour long blocks all day long, every day. That say, I don't want to see anything Teen Titans at all. Even when I see the animated movies where it's like Teen Titans versus the Justice League, which is a great movie. Teen Titans versus this and stuff like that, and you get this really cool version of the Titans. I'm like, yeah, I want to watch it, but I'm really sick of the Titans. I don't want to see Robin.
Yeah, you're burnt out.
I'm really burnt out on all these characters. I really can give two shits whether they have anything to go again, right? So I watched that show, and it's great. Okay, it's a good show. It really is. It's a good show. I don't want to make like it sucked, but then they come out, they say with Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is an older team-up show with original characters that were like much older in the I guess the golden age of comics and stuff like that. And what a great lineup. Brandon Fraser, Timothy Dalton, just to say a couple. The characters on there are great. Brandon Fraser, one of the funniest characters he plays, and he plays Robot Man. And he is one of the funniest people I've ever heard in my life when I see this show. The writing is literally like writing a comic book. Like there's an episode where an entire town gets sucked into a donkey's ass. Yeah, I'm not kidding you, dude. This shit happened. The entire town gets sucked into a donkey's ass. They go into this donkey's ass to go after the town. They get in there. There's a town, blah, blah, blah. There's things happening, mystical things, blah, blah, blah. We win. The donkey throws everything up. The whole town, the people, everything. Comic book. That's a comic book.
That's
right
a
there.
comic book.
Right? And
where it totally stretches stretches reality to a point of like, this could never happen.
And at no time
believe it.
At no time did I say that couldn't happen. I was like, this is just great, right? So Doom Patrol, if you get a chance to stream it, you definitely want to watch it. And I'm advising you all to watch these shows now because I'm getting to a point where you might not be able to see them. Okay. Titans was good. Doom Patrol, way better. Great show. Brilliantly written show. It broke the fourth wall a lot. The narrator's talking to you, the audience, and is actually saying, it took this long in this show to get to this point and stuff like that. And he's saying such funny shit. And you're like, oh my God, this is great. And it's written so beautifully that it's like amazing. So then you get through all that. And it's the season and you're like, I can't wait for the next episode. And then Swamp Thing comes out. Swamp Thing probably
I've been hearing that it's absolutely phenomenal.
It's the best show on television, period. I'll tell you that right now. And anybody can challenge me, and I'll challenge you to it. It is the best show on television. The effects, the combination of CGI and practical effects are amazing. I can literally compare it to John Carpenter's The Thing. In a lot of ways. Yes. There is a scene in one of the second episode, I think, where they find a guy. Now imagine the swamp's alive. Okay. And there's this force in the swamp, and the swamp is fighting back from all the pollution and all the right. So there's a scene where they find a guy in his house dead. He's dead, right?
Okay.
But he's at his sink in his bathroom, and out of the plumbing comes these vines and stuff from the swamp, right? And they totally engulf him and blah blah blah, and they grow through him, and like he's dead. He's like and he's got vines through his mouth and stuff like that. So like, it's pretty horrific, right? Now keep in mind, this is a horror show. This is a horror show.
Okay? Yeah, just as anybody who saw the old versions, the old Swamp Thing movies, where there was a horror movie. Yeah. It's a horror movie.
Yeah. Now you go in there, and they take this guy back to to do a biopsy and an autopsy, and then find out what's going on with the swamp thing that's going on, blah blah blah, right? And all of a sudden, during the scene, the fucking vines now start growing out of him. And now his head's getting all cockeyed and it's ripping his face apart. And this is where the Thing comes in, right? And it looks like, remember that scene in The Thing where the spider legs come out of his head?
Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, by the way.
It looks like that, right? It's like, whoa,
awesome.
This is like crazy shit. Now keep in mind, the first episode blows you off your seat. The first episode. Like, you're like, they got to keep this pace throughout the whole series. Because the first episode was like, boom, like this, right? So they're doing that kind of stuff. There's another scene. I think it's like the third episode. Now, he's Swamp Thing at this point. By the way, he's Swamp Thing as of the end of the first episode. So they don't make you wait. Okay? At all. They don't make you wait. He's Swamp Thing by the end of the first episode. Okay? So now I think in episode 2, there's some guys in the swamp and they're looking around. And they get to him and he's fighting. The guy's about ready to fight him. They don't know what he is. He's like, this thing in the swamp. What is this? And I'm going to fight you and I'm a bad guy. But he yells at this thing. He's like a monster, right? And he controls all the vines. If you know Swamp Thing, he controls all the life, right?
Yeah. So
they grab all the vines, grab this guy by his ankles, by his neck, by his hands, stuff like that, and they bring him out to the middle of the swamp. And Swamp Thing screams, and they corner this guy, right?
Wait.
They rip every piece of body part off of this dude, right? So you see a faraway shot, like this is my hand is the body, right? That's how small it is. And it's like, boom! Pull it apart all at the same time. My Ava, who's autistic, she's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, it was the greatest thing. I said, holy shit. Like, it was crazy. So now, after the first episode, which gets praise, so much praise, they sit there and they say, guess what? It's canceled. It's canceled. And you're like, why the hell is this canceled? Right? This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. They claim in the city of South Carolina, where they're filming a lot of this stuff, right, that they were supposed to get a $40,000 tax break, right? They only get a $13.5 thousand tax break, something like that. And they're claiming because it's a financial snafu that we can't afford to do the show. It's going to be canceled, right? Now, South Carolina, state of South Carolina says, we're only obligatory to give you up to $14,000. So I don't know where you got 40,000 from, because it would only be at the most 14. And you got 13 something, right? So either A, that's a legit story and somebody put the wrong number somewhere, or B, I'm going to believe the state of South Carolina before I believe the people that are producing the show, okay? Because not long after that happens, then you start hearing stories about Warner Media, which is owned by AT&T, because AT&T bought Time Warner, okay? Yeah. And they were not big on the DC Universe Network anyway. Yeah, and I would assume probably because they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I would assume they had nothing to do with it, so therefore we don't have really any creative control in what's being programmed and blah, blah, blah. So like anything, and you see this happen in so many different things, where a company comes in and like, yeah, we're going to kill this because we have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, we don't like that. It's not what we're into. We don't want to spend money on it because we want to spend money on this.
Right, exactly. So the word on the street is that the DC universe will go away. Okay, it's only around less than a year. It's going to go away. The only show that will survive, they say, is Titans. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, with this fucking Titans. I can't, the best show is Swamp Thing. But here's the deal. A show like Swamp Thing could only be shown on cable.
Yeah.
FX at the most with commercials.
Well, you're like really like your FX, maybe AMC, because you've got because they're already
you need the ability to keep the language in there.
Yeah,
I mean they do drop F-bombs, and you could get rid of the F-bombs if you wanted to. Yeah. That's not a big deal.
It needs to be basically a safe harbor.
Yeah.
Show on an edgier cable network where this is what you're going to expect.
They're going to allow it, right? Like for example, with Walking Dead, they don't really drop shit. They drop ass or whatever. They even say dick. They don't say fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
So they don't have to say the F word in order for the show to keep what it's going, but they do drop it a couple times. I ain't gonna lie. If you watch Swamp Thing, they do drop it here and there, but more it's the graphic violence and the level of effects that makes this show like unbelievable. Not to mention the story. The story's great.
As we've said, you can have great effects. You can have but if your story is crap, well, I might as well just watch this TV show about how special effects are done.
And here you go. Damn thing. And here you go too. Virginia Madsen is in the show, right? I apologize about my dog. Virginia Madsen.
Better to shut up.
She's in the show. I forget the guy's name. I really do. I really like his acting style. The guy that played in, we were just talking about Punisher with Thomas Jane. Gunner. We were talking about the Punisher with Thomas Jane. The guy that played the Hitman for John Travolta, and I forget his name. He was in Falling Skies as well.
Yeah, I gotta look him up because he is in so much different stuff.
Just look up Swamp Thing cast 2018 or 2019.
Yeah,
and you'll see his name in there. He's in it.
Yeah.
As we bring the show to home, there you go. That's the one. Yes, he's great. He's great in everything he does. He's a great actor.
He is an excellent character actor. He's whatever.
Oh, awesome. Jennifer Beals is in the show.
Wow.
He plays a tough ass sheriff who's got her hands dirty and a lot of stuff. Nobody's really above sin in this show. Like apparently we're this Murray, I think it's in Murray. is the town that they're in. Apparently, it's everybody's seedy in this show. Okay, everybody's got some kind of dark secret about something, right?
Which is great.
And they kind of explored. Ian Ziering is in it.
Really?
He's in it. Yeah. He's in it. He did something. I don't know what the hell they did with him. They killed him and brought him right back again. He got with a potion and something happened with him where he became electrified. I don't know. It was Ian Ziering. I was like, whatever. Tornado. Yeah. But then now the problem is that they dropped the episode lineup from I think 13 down to 10 episodes. And I think this week is episode 9, so I'm so sad. I'm like crying. Because I'm like, I only got like 2 episodes left and it's not going to come on anymore. I'm like so sad, right? But in episode 7 or 8, Adrienne Barbeau comes on in a cameo role.
Nice. Oh, see Adrienne Barbeau.
As a doctor in the CDC. Now, the person that plays Abby Arcane, which is like the main love interest of Alec Holland, is the girl, and I forget her name, but she was on Gotham, and she played Falcone's daughter on Gotham. All right. She was on for 1 season, and real beautiful girl. But she plays Abby Arcane on there. And then she's a part of the CDC. And in the CDC, ahead of the CDC, is Adrienne Barbeau. So I was like, wow. I said, that's really cool because the what's her name from Flashdance? Why am I blanking? What is her name again?
Jennifer Beals.
Jennifer Beals. She plays Cable. And Cable was Adrienne Barbeau's character in the Swamp Thing movie. Right. Now, she's a sheriff in this show. Cable in the Swamp Thing movie, she was an FBI agent or something like that. She was with the CIA or something. So it's a little bit different, writing or whatever. But that was kind of cool. You tie it all together. And if you know Swamp Thing, it's cool. And the Swamp Thing character is really cool based on what version of Swamp Thing you read or see. Because original Swamp Thing, if I'm not mistaken, Alec Holland, and it's not Alec Holland. His name is Alec something else. I forget the last name. But originally, Alec Holland was not the original name of the guy. But in the original Swamp Thing comic book, he dies, right? And the swamp replicates him.
Yeah.
Doesn't save him. So in other words, Swamp Thing is not Alec. Mm-hmm. He just has Alec's emotions and feelings, so therefore thinks he's Alec, which is kind of a cool concept. Now, later renditions of Swamp Thing, you go into another series of Swamp Thing. Now it's Alec revived as Swamp Thing. And
yeah, at one point, because in the movie, it was like basically there was a laboratory explosion. He catches on fire,
right,
falls into the swamp and extinguishes him, and that's how it basically infuses him with the swamp. And it's
exactly. So with this here, great show. It's 10 episodes. I think we're on episode 9 right now. You would only hope that somebody would pick it up, and it's not going to happen, unfortunately. And this is one of those sad things where a phenomenal television show will only last 1 season because of bullshit. Mm-hmm. And shame. It's really a shame because there's shows out there that have no reason being on, and they're on their 5th season.
Yeah, and it's and unfortunately we see it a lot lately. I mean, even in you end up with network television, where it seems like they want to put these really good shows on in a time slot.
Yes.
That goes up against shows that are so heavily watched. It's like they're doomed to failure.
They are.
You put a show that has a really high budget against a show that is going to continually crush it. Perfectly good example. A couple years ago, I can't remember if it was ABC or CBS. They did a show. It was a time travel show called Timeless.
Yes, I think
it was a great concept the way they did it. And after like 1 season, it's like it's getting canceled. It was like on Tuesday nights or something.
Right.
And then fans, write in, they got such an uproar. The network brings it back. Okay, we're going to bring it back. We're not going to cancel it. 2nd season is going to happen. We're just going to move it to another time slot. When did they move it to? Sundays, 10 o'clock. where it's competing against what? Walking Dead.
Yeah. Right. How's it going to do?
It's like, I'm sorry, but it's like, as much as I love this show, I'm DVRing that. I'm watching Walking Dead and watching it later. And then again, the second season goes through. It gets killed. Why? It's like, because you put it against the freaking Walking Dead. Of course nobody's watching it.
Look what Fox did. They had one of their top-rated shows they canceled, which was Lucifer. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They did 3 seasons on Fox. And then they canceled it. Everybody's like, why are you canceling this? Why are you canceling this? And they got so many petitions to say, why? So what happens, Netflix buys it. Mm-hmm. They said, we'll produce a 4th season. And they produce a 4th season. They put it out there. And it's 10 episodes or whatever, 12 episodes, something like that, which is normally 22 episodes on Fox. So it's a shorter season.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure I was going to get on Netflix.
But because Netflix is more mature, they're able to explore a little bit differently, explore a little bit more. You're able to get a little bit more out of Lucifer in those episodes, more bang for your buck. And it ends up being literally the highest watched television show on Netflix, period. Breaks all records.
Yeah.
They're like, holy shit. Like, oh my God, we bought this. And it's a gold mine, right? So the creators are like, we're not going past season 5, unfortunately. And everybody loves it. They want 12 seasons of this damn show. Mm-hmm. But we're only going, season 5 is going to be it. So they're producing season 5. And it's supposed to be going to be a big blockbuster season. And it's actually been expanded to 16 episodes from 10. So you're going to get a longer Netflix season run out of it. But only get, excuse me, you're only going to get 5 seasons out of it. But it's a great show. Yeah. Now, Fox, once again, one of their biggest shows that are getting huge ratings is, what's the name? Jeff McFarlane's The Orville.
Yeah.
The Orville's an awesome show. And I can't say enough about this show because of the fact that McFarlane having his Family Guy run, his American Dad run, his Cleveland show run, you think, oh, well, he's only dumb humor. He's only this and that. And The Orville is so intelligently written and hits such topics in such a way. Now, granted, it bites off of Star Trek, but they literally, what they do that Star Trek didn't do is they reintroduced human feeling back into it. Because if you look at the Star Trek The Next Generation, the one complaint I always had about was that everybody was a fucking snob.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody laughed. Nobody cursed. Everybody seemed like, I'm too good for this. I'm too good for that. On this show, they're like, like they're real human beings. They're real people.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, we're a more heavily, Star Trek was like, oh, we're more heavily evolved. We don't even use money anymore. Well, how the hell do you get anything?
Right.
Yeah. It's like, well, we built our starship. Well, how did you build a starship?
Exactly.
How do you pay for it? Yeah, something has to be done somewhere. But yeah, it's like, oh, we're more evolved. We don't do the.
You watch this show, and brilliantly written, hits subjects that are today's subjects in such a manner that you're proud to say, hey, Seth MacFarlane tackled this subject matter in a adult way and proved that he's above stupid humor. Yeah. Okay. He does that and that's where he's known for, but he's like this. He's all over, right?
It's like, I did that because it fit a niche and there's other stuff. So it's like, hey, people are liking this and I know I can write like that and I can fill that niche and I know it's going to be successful.
And he does great at it.
He can do a whole lot more. Kind of like you say, we see certain, I really equate him to like certain musicians who sit there and they'll put out an album in a certain genre. And then all of a sudden they go like, I'm going to put out this album. And you go like, oh my God, it's a totally different genre, totally different style, but that's awesome fucking too. Yeah. Because like, I don't just write this. I can also write this, but I put this out as like a different project name or whatever, because I want all my other fans to know that it's not this. They're not going to hear this on this, kind of a
thing. Exactly. Now the point of bringing him up though was that Fox, I don't know what happened with Fox, but season 3 of The Orville, which is highly anticipated, is going to Hulu. instead of Fox. So they left Fox to go to Hulu for their 3rd season. So it's like, what is going on with Fox that they have to shuffle through shows like underwear?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just can't commit to a damn show. The fact that they kept on Lethal Weapon after removing one of the main characters.
And that's the thing. I didn't watch, granted, my biggest problem with that, again, since you brought it up, and we're getting out of the comic book world again, but I just got to throw this in there. I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the way Clayne Crawford played Martin Riggs.
Yeah, he did a really good job on it. He really did.
It was a slightly different character. But he played it so well. You believe this guy. I mean, you felt for this guy again. It was like you felt the feelings this guy felt.
Right.
And at the end of season 2, when you get this cliffhanger with him being shot at the end, but the fact that he looks at Wayans, and he's about ready to roll away and says, "Thanks for saving my life." And he's like, "Oh, you mean on the beach? Oh man, you're my partner." And he's like, "That's not what I meant."
Right.
It's like, I used to want to kill myself, and now I want to live.
Right.
And it's because of you. And it's like, then all of a sudden, because there's this big uproar, and apparently they don't get along, and there were some issues, they fire him.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're going to bring Sean William Scott, and no disrespect to Sean William Scott. I did at least watch the first episode that he was on.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm going to see it. Because who knows? Maybe my opinion will get changed.
Right.
And it was an okay. And it's like, I think, it was like, if they had brought him in.
You don't watch Starsky and Hutch without Hutch.
Exactly. It's like, if you want to fire him and bring in a new actor to play Martin Riggs,
that would be more
Martin Riggs. Because even you're only 2 seasons in.
Right.
You're only 2 seasons in. It's not like it's 7, 8 seasons, and now it's like, well, now I can't see anybody else.
Right.
2 seasons in, if somebody else is doing a good job of playing that character, you can maybe be like, okay, I'll give it a few more episodes, and eventually, before you know it,
that guy,
you're accepting them as the character.
Yeah.
But to totally get rid of Martin Riggs,
it didn't make any sense.
Riggs is the lethal weapon.
Yeah, because the other guy wasn't lethal.
And again, Sean William Scott, like so many people know him for his comedy stuff.
Right.
He plays pretty good action stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, unfortunately, and it's one of those things where it's like, I watch and like, it's just not quite the same. I can't buy this. I can't buy this now.
It cracks me up that they're willing to do that, but they're not willing to keep Lucifer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, stop. Just, I don't understand these decisions whatsoever. I don't understand them at all.
Hell, you get rid of Wayans in the lethal weapon equation, because when you start reading more stuff behind the scenes, he didn't really want to do the project anyway.
Well, after they got rid of Riggs, after he got rid of Riggs, he didn't want to do it because he kind of felt like this is kind of stupid too. Don't make any sense.
Well, and he didn't, and but because I read it is the fact that it's like they're going like, it was like, hey, we want you to do Lethal Weapon, and you're going to play Murtaugh, and he was like, I don't want to do it. And it's basically his agents and the studio kept pushing him, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll do it. Because he also thought it wasn't going to last. So it's like, okay, it's a paycheck. It's probably going to get canceled anyway.
Right.
But anyway,
that's what it comes down.
But again, it's like we just see too much of this stuff, and I'd like to see more of. Again, it kills me that we see so many more streaming services popping up, and it's a shame, because it's like you can only afford to have. It's like
they're hoping you're going to get rid of cable.
Exactly, and unfortunately, I'm not going to. As much as I'd love to. Because again, I wish cable would sit there and let me do like an a la carte thing and say.
I talked to somebody about this, and you and I are in the same generation, and our generation were brought up on television.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, here's the problem. I need to be told when to watch. Mm-hmm. That's all I know. So don't give me like, oh, I got the whole season of this show on. Watch it whenever you want. Because guess what? I won't take the time to watch it.
Yeah.
But if I know 8 o'clock on Monday night, that's on, guess what? 8 o'clock Monday night, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. So in that sense, like, we're brought up to say, we're we're slaves to the box. You know, we really are.
And here's the thing, too. Here's the thing that I liked. Here's the one thing I always loved about television, period, over streaming services.
Right.
Being episodic. If I know that I'm watching a show that it's a continual story, it's not just individual episodes.
Right.
You know, the next episode is going to be a continuation of the storylines and themes that I've seen in this episode. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, Monday night, 8 o'clock. At 8:30 or 9 o'clock, depending upon whether it's a half hour, an hour show, I'm sitting there going, I can't wait for next week. It gives me something to look forward to.
It really does, because I binge watch a lot of shows that come out. Like, for example, on Netflix, the last of the Marvel shows like Jessica Jones, Punisher, etc. You have them all there. The whole season's there.
You binge watch it, then you finish up and you go, now what do I do?
You're like, wow, that was great. I don't know what else to do from there. Mm-hmm. Now, the way the DC Universe has been doing it, they've been doing it week to week. Like every Friday is Swamp Thing. So I watch it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I watch it one of those days or whatever.
Yeah. And at least tell you the next episode gets released on this date. And now you can.
So I know. Yeah, right. And like you said, I have something to look forward to. Now, with that going away, it's just unfortunate. I think we're losing, in my estimation, 2 great shows, Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing. If they're not picked up by some other streaming service or some other channel, we're losing a lot.
We can always hope.
You can if there's a petition for it, but if they don't let these properties go, then you're screwed. You know, that's what it comes down to. So now what you do is the other thing I wanted to talk to, this is the final thing I wanted to talk about on the show today. We had a big show today. We haven't been back for a while. Is the Arrowverse. Now, the Arrowverse, for those of you that are like under a rock somewhere, on CW.
Unfortunately, too, Dan, I know, because I know that this is a great love of yours, but we're going to have to keep this relatively short here. I think we got to wrap this up by another 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, we got it. Well, what we have going on here is the Arrowverse. This is now, I believe it's season 8 for Arrow, which is going to be the final season. Arrow being the beginning of this big montage of spin-off TV shows. Arrow's now going to go away. It's being replaced, in a sense, by Batwoman. Okay. So we're going to see that transition happen. They do a crossover event in fall of every, say, like the mid-season finale kind of thing. This year it's going to be Crisis on Infinite Earth. So they try and do a comic book related storyline for the crossover,
which is always good. You need to keep that there.
And you get your Arrow and the Flash and the Legends of Tomorrow, and they all get together and they do something. They fight the bad guys and blah blah blah. And with this year, you have Arrow leaving us after this season, and it's actually a short season. It's only 10 episodes in comparison to, I think, like their normal 20. So what you're now talking about is that the Arrow final season is more than likely going to be just completely setting up this crossover, where I think will be the end of the show. There won't be like a bad guy, you know, this is the main plot with that being a subplot. This is now one plot and that's it. We're done, because we don't have enough time to fight anybody else.
We're fully develop it. Yeah, we got it. We got to start setting up the next. The next property.
So you got these properties coming out there, and everybody's coming back. You have the Flash, which is out of the Arrowverse, I think is the most popular of the shows. You have the Legends of Tomorrow, which in concept in the beginning were great. This was where we're getting some B-list heroes, and they're going to do time travel, and they're going to fix things in time. Okay, so you're like, all right, that's kind of a neat concept or whatever. And you got the characters like the Atom. You have characters like the White Canary. You have characters like Heatwave, and originally you had Mr. Cold, and you know, stuff like that. And it was like a neat concept. And then somewhere along the line, it lost their way. Constantine, which was originally an NBC series that was canceled after one season, got picked up by the CW, and then they brought him specifically onto the Legends of Tomorrow cast. So Constantine's on there, and they kind of unfortunately shaped the show around his motif, which is the supernatural. So it kind of puts everybody else out of place just to kind of for one person, which I thought was a bad idea to do, because I watched the show religiously, loyally, but I'm like, none of this makes sense whatsoever. This show got stupid, in a sense. And I kind of don't like a lot of the episodes that have been recent. But that's what's got. I mean, you got Black Lightning, which is not even in canon with the rest of these shows. Like, they have its own separate little thing. And I don't like that in that sense, because I think what they were trying to do, is Black Lightning, which is a cool character. If you remember back to the Super Friends, it was Black Vulcan.
Yes.
That's who Black Lightning was in the comic books. And then they made him Black Vulcan on the Super Friends TV show to kind of not dumb him down, but to make him more user-friendly.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't going to be this militant black guy who has electrical powers or anything like that. They wanted to make him kid-friendly. So they made him Black Vulcan. Okay? Great character. And it's actually a really cool show. My biggest complaint has always been is that the directive for the show, or the identifying group that they're going for, are African Americans between what age and what age, right? They almost like exclude everybody else in a sense.
Yeah.
The show deals with a lot of racial scenarios. There's like one white guy in the whole show, right? And the whole show is just racial. And I'm like, you want to use your creative to push a point. Good. Because you're getting your point out. But when you shove it down my throat like you're on a soapbox, now I'm getting annoyed, because you're losing the track of these cool, fun stories. And all I'm getting is political shit about this, that, and the other thing. Is bringing racism to light on a TV show in every single episode going to change something? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, and I'm going to say no, it's not.
It's not going to. And I think, and it's unfortunate we're saying, because we talk about, we need more diversity in TV shows and movies, and we want to, we're trying to end racism, which, as much as it still exists. I don't think it's, despite what a lot of people are saying, I don't think it's not as heavily as it was in the past. I think we are slowly moving forward. Unfortunately, everybody wants to shine a spotlight on it, and you can create this show that has this strong black character who is a positive role model without making it be like, suddenly it's how,
and you know what,
get Whitey.
We're
going to prove every episode the white man's out to hold you down, and here's the black man.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm not racist. Okay, my niece is black.
Not a racist bone in your body.
And my niece is black. So I mean, I'm there. Okay, but the scenario is, if you go back to the 80s and go back to the Cosby Show, racism never came up.
No.
Okay, and in real life, and this is the truth, this is not my opinion, this is fact, Bill Cosby is a really racist son of a bitch. He really is. Forget about everything else he's been doing. But Bill Cosby, sorry, Bill, but Bill Cosby was someone that was so into the further evolution of Black Americans in this country, to say, hey, we could do anything we want. And that's the most positive thing you could say.
Yeah.
But he was known in a lot of cases to be very hateful towards whites and stuff like that. And there wasn't a lot of instances like that, because I'm not opening up a can of worms here, but like that's the snare. But his show only showed positive light on any African American to say, hey, you can be whatever you want. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
My friend who's black, who comes in here, he's a professor. You know what I mean? And my son, who's got a learning disability, remember he had dyslexia or something like that, right? He became a teacher on the show. So that show did what I think an African American based show should do.
Mhm.
And it's to show, hey, you're not stuck.
You're not stuck.
You're not stuck. The only thing getting in your way is you.
Mhm.
Nothing else. Okay.
Which, regardless of whether you are white, black, yellow, what I don't care. I don't care if you're purple and come from Mars.
Yeah.
The only thing standing in your way is your attitude.
Yeah.
You know. Now,
and
granted,
and
unfortunate, and the thing is, and unfortunately, we see this a lot. And again, because this is kind of getting way off base here, but no matter what, hey, certain people are going to have certain skills. Like, I am never going to be a nuclear physicist. So if I try and study to be a nuclear physicist, and I get to a point where going like, okay, yeah, I've reached my limitations. Well, now it's like, okay, I've gone as far as I can on this path. That doesn't mean my path is over.
No.
It just means that, okay, I've run into an obstacle that I cannot overcome. So, well, guess what? There's a path over here. I go down that path.
Yeah.
And you're always moving forward.
Yes.
You're always moving forward, and eventually you find where you fit, and you can be whatever you want to be, as long as you believe in your mind, I can do this, and if I fail at this, well, then guess what? I found that I'm not good at that, and I pick something else. I don't just give up.
Exactly. And let's face it.
And superhero stories are the perfect vehicle to do that.
They really are, because now you're taking everything into a fantastic scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the Black Lightning, if you look, the guy on there, he is such a role model. Like, he's a principal of the thing. And he teaches those kids, hey, you don't have to be ghetto. You don't have to revert to gangs. You don't have to do drugs. And he basically says, the only one standing in front of you is you. And he said, and like, you know what I mean? And like, he has a mantra with these kids. And these kids respect him because he's like, you could be anything you want to be. Okay. But now what they do is they show you that even he gets sometimes racially, it happens to everybody,
Yeah.
But like, my point is, don't dominate the fucking show with it.
Yeah.
Now you're pushing an agenda. Don't push an agenda over a storyline. That's my point.
You can keep it as the undertone. You don't, it can be in the background.
Now, the greatest thing about this is Tobias Wales is the main adversary, and he's an albino. Okay,
so he's like completely out. He's white.
He's an African American albino. So he hates white people. He hates black people. He hates everybody. And I said, this guy is the greatest villain I've ever seen. Like, I cheer this guy every time he's on the show, because I'm like, he is such a badass. And I just love that he can't stand anybody. He's an enigma of himself. Okay. Just really cool.
And slam his own head into the wall because he hates himself.
And the cool thing is that his character, right? He's taken some sort of a drug or something like that, where he's like immortal. He's like living forever type of thing, or he's aging very, very slowly, because he dates back to slavery times.
Oh.
Okay. So he knows the bad end of being a black guy, right? And he's lived past it because he hasn't aged in hundreds of years, right? So he's in modern day, you know what I mean? And he's just this albino black guy who fucking hates everybody because they don't accept him because he's white. The white people don't accept him because he's black. What the fuck? But he's just so bad, and he's just ruthless, and he's just a great. And then you see him do he does these ads for CW, where he's talking about like heart, and he's the nicest guy. He's like, everybody love everybody, but you're like, dude, you want to kill people? I don't care. You'll kill everybody. It's just great. But the show is good, but it's not in the Arrowverse canon. Okay, but now you have Batwoman coming in. Batwoman being and this is what I like about it too. I said it on a different show before, and I'm not going to get into it really, but like, the CW has this thing about pushing an agenda once again, where they have a gay or lesbian representation on every single show. Everybody's gay. Everybody's gay. I said in my 45 years on this planet, I know maybe 6 gay people that are out. And somebody said to me, really? I said, where do you think I hang at? But I would know more than like 6 gay people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not a common, I would say it's not a common thing, but like, you know, it's not like there's like 20% straight people and 80% gay. You know, it's like, I don't know what a percentage would be because people are not, they're in the closet or whatever the case would be. I mean,
we've gone from underrepresentation to overrepresentation. And again, as we've said, you know, these, you know, people of, you know, whether you are gay, lesbian, trans, you know, non-binary, whatever you identify as, you know, you deserve representation in shows, in movies.
Well, I said this.
You're out there, and yeah, we need to include everybody because that means everybody needs to feel like they've got, you know, somebody they can identify with. But it doesn't need to be on every single show.
Matt, well, here's the way to do it. It's on every single show. And everybody that's not gay is super accepting of it. And I'm like, I call bullshit right there. Because these people are these people are all angels. Everybody on every show, when they die, should go to heaven. Because there's not a mean person out of all of them. Like, even the bad guys are accepting. Like, stop this bullshit. Stop it. Right? I said,
they don't show that person that goes like, I really like you, but you know, I need time to kind of deal with this.
Right. and I said, listen, if the character is gay in the comic books, then you're just keeping it to canon.
Yeah.
Okay? Mr. Terrific, who was on the Arrow show, he's gay in the comics, and therefore he's gay in the show. Okay, good. There you go. Now you go to Flash, the captain who you see once every 16 episodes, he's gay. Why the fuck does he have to be gay? I don't even know who the hell he is, right? But he's on there. Their daughter, they have a daughter that comes back from the future, right? And they hint that she's like there's this one episode where the bad girl's like hitting on her or something like that, and she's like hitting on her back. It's like, yeah, she's gay. Okay. You know, and I guess
putting it in there just for the sake of putting it in there.
And that's what it comes down to. And no disrespect to anybody, because I'm friends with gays and transgenders and everything. I really am. But like, I call bullshit, okay, on this whole thing in the sense of saying, like, when is it not insulting to you that people are putting it on there just for the sake of putting it on there?
Yeah.
And it makes no sense. I said on another show, Matt, and I think you'll agree with this.
Yeah.
If there's an earthquake and a building's coming down and it's going to crush me and my baby, you fly in there as a superhero and you hold that building up. Do you really think I care if you're gay or not?
Absolutely not.
You know, at that point, I don't think so. I don't think. And here's the thing, too. Superheroes never can have relationships. It's known that they never can have relationships. So who fucking cares if they're gay or not? Because these guys ain't getting it anyway.
Yeah. They're still gonna. The only difference is instead of whether or not you're pining over somebody of the opposite sex or the same sex,
right?
Or you're telling that person, "I can never be with you because my enemies will ever come after you to get to me." And you know
And you know what they don't do, and this is something that pissed me off. Like, they will sit there, and it's one thing you make canon characters who are gay, right? But then they'll make characters that are not gay, because just to have the representation.
And as you said, where are you not offended? When do you start being offended of saying you're no longer trying to represent, you know, people of my orientation,
right?
Versus you're just trying to appease me. If you want to accept me, you want to give me attention, you want to say, hey, people of these orientations, you know, whether it be, you know, gender or sexual and whatever else the case may be, truly include me. Don't just throw me a bone.
You make a good point, because let me tell you,
don't just throw me a bone.
Then
you're not really showing that you understand my feelings or
you're satisfied.
You're just kind of going, okay, you know what? We got to keep this. We're gonna put this in there to keep the gays, the transgender, and anything else. We just got to put it in there to keep them happy.
You're shutting me up, is what it is. Yeah, and that's why. And that's why I think the whole PC nation I think that's a horrible thing, being politically correct. Because all it does is literally say, hey, we're going to avoid an argument. You want to hear about gay is good? All right, gay's good. I don't think gay's good. You know, that's kind of what I get out of it. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm a straight male. Okay, I'm married. I have children, and I'm not gay. But if you are gay, good for you. I hope you find somebody you love. Yeah. And as far as marriage is concerned, everybody's got the right to be miserable. So go ahead, get married. I don't give a shit what you do.
Well, and the one thing that I've always, because we're getting into political stuff, and I know we try to always avoid this as much as we possibly can, and all that stuff. But it's like my thought has always been this: a lot of people who have who oppose gay marriage, it's based on a theological objection.
Yes.
Well, it's like, you know what? We have the freedom of religion in this country, so don't force your religious belief on me. Because what if my religious beliefs say that
it's good?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, if maybe I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God. I don't believe the Bible is it. So why? So your argument, so basically because you're forcing your religious beliefs on me, which this country says you can't do to somebody.
I think we should replace PC with MYB. You know what that is? Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Okay? Because let me tell you something, Matt. If you came out to me tomorrow and said, listen, you know what? I'm divorcing my wife because I'm gay and I found a guy at work that I'm in love with and I'm going to marry him. You know what, Matt? That's not going to give me any money to pay my mortgage.
That's right.
That's not going to change the fact that I hit a deer last week and now my car's totaled. That's not going to. Yeah. It's not changing the fact I have a sinus infection right now that I'm dying through. Okay, so you know what? I don't care. Mind your business.
You know what? In this world, you're going to meet people you care about, and regardless of what they do in this world, unless you're out there murdering children on the side of the road and burying them in your basement, it's as long as it's not hurting anybody, the people who accept you are going to accept you regardless of what you tell them.
As long as you don't murder people,
you're still a decent human being.
For the sake of argument, let's say you do murder people. As long as you don't murder me, I don't give a shit. I'm just saying, I'm really that laid back. Hey, you do you, brother. You know what I mean? Just like anyway. But anyway, so Batwoman's coming in.
Batwoman's coming in.
Batwoman's coming in, and right now all you see is it's Ruby Rose. And anybody who's seen Ruby Rose knows that she's Ruby Rose in every fucking thing she's in. Okay, so whether or not that's going to translate into Ruby Rose becoming Batwoman and making this character somebody outside of her, the human being that's playing her, that remains to be seen. Batwoman's not a super popular character. All right, she's only recent years. She's the cousin, to give you an idea. She is the lesbian cousin of Bruce Wayne. Her last name is Kane. I forget her name is Kathy Kane or something like that. Kathy Kane's actually a girl I went to high school with. No, it's not that. But it's something. But she comes around when Bruce is no longer in the picture. Kind of like he quasi-retired or he's taking a break or whatever. And she comes in and she becomes Batwoman. And basically takes over the mantle of the Dark Knight for Gotham City. So we will wait and see. A lot of people don't know. They confuse her with Batgirl. And it's not Barbara Gordon. It's not Batgirl. This is Bruce Wayne's cousin who becomes Batwoman. And she's pretty badass. And she can do a lot of Batman-esque stuff. So pretty cool. So we'll wait and see if the show takes off in a sense. Arrow leaving, not to say that this is a direct replacement for Arrow, but with it coming in as Arrow's going out, it's automatically going to be compared in that sense. Yeah. So it's got big shoes to fill, coming into the Arrowverse, which is now going to have to be changed to the Flashverse or somehow. Yeah. Arrow's going to go away.
Be something.
You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes, but still really good stuff. Not as good as Swamp Thing. Fine. But we'll see how it goes from there. But we had a big episode today.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we
Very
did.
long episode. And Matt, you did a lot better than you thought you were going to do.
Yeah, well, hey, like I said, I always I want to make sure that, especially in a situation like this where it's just me and you, I want to make sure that, we actually have something to contribute to it.
Yes.
Otherwise, but
Shout out to, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is where, though, too, I trust in Danny J, because I know, you definitely want to put out a good quality product every time we do a show. And, this is where I trust in you, to the fact that if you tell me, hey, you're going to do a lot more than you know.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what I did.
Otherwise, you ain't going to have me on the show.
and that's exactly what I said to you, right, in pre-production for the show. I said, you know more than you know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I will lead you down the path.
Danny J will not have anybody on the show that cannot contribute to the quality of the show.
No, I won't.
He's not going to be like, well, Matt's my bud, so I'm going to keep him on the show. If Matt ain't going to be able to contribute, Matt, you ain't going to be on the episode.
I'll send you a link to watch it, but
love you, bro. Watch it, share the link. But yeah, you're sitting this one out. You're riding the bench.
Well, we had a lot of great shit. Shout out to LeGrand Jackson. He couldn't be on today. And shout out to Bobby Taylor, who was trying to be on the show today, but due to technical difficulties, poor guy. That's all he has is technical difficulties trying to get on the show.
Definitely check out his show.
Yeah, check out his show. He's on the network. It's Bob Taylor Presents New Comic Book Wednesdays. He puts out a show every Wednesday, and I try my fastest and hardest to, as soon as he puts the show out, I put it on the network, so you can check that out there. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell so you can do that. And by all means, leave a comment if there's anything you want to talk about, anything you want us to talk about, any comments about anything we said here. Put it down there. I mean, we want to hear from everybody. It helps with the search.
If we were spot on, tell us. If we were talking out our ass, you think, tell us that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably delete the comment, but yeah, no, we'll be good. We'll be good with that. But no, we had a lot of fun doing the show. And now that some of the other shows that were taking up precedence in time to produce are winding down on seasons, now I can pick the show back up. Yeah. We have you seen it lately with myself and Matt?
Yeah, obviously our schedule's been a little rough trying to get together. It was just amazing. I was able to even get in on this show today. But in the meantime, since I know we're having trouble getting together to do our typical shows, I've got a few mini episodes planned for those people who are subscribing, where I'm going to talk about maybe a few movies that you probably haven't seen lately. You might not have ever seen it at all. Ones that I seem to think that are a fun movie. It might be like low budget, maybe not as well known. It might be so super cheesy that it's like you're going to want to watch this just to see how cheesy it is and laugh at it.
There you go.
But you're also going to have fun watching it, kind of a thing.
That's awesome.
So I've got a few of those mini episodes just kind of to bring those movies to light, and so people can maybe enjoy them, or potentially maybe even just have a Mystery Science Theater 3000 night with some of their best friends and say, come on over, invite everybody over to make fun of this movie.
How many times have we done that?
Yeah. We've done it. We've had nights where this should be great, and we're watching it going, we spend, an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes just totally ripping it to shreds.
I don't know what the show was about, but okay.
Yeah, but we had fun watching it. Anyway,
coming up, but these are coming up. Matt will get those up as quickly as he can. And once again, we're gonna have more capes not included. We're working out of multiple studios, people, so that way it gives us the carte blanche to be able to put more shows out more often. So this is a big thing. I'm working out of a different studio. I'm working out of a home studio right now. So that gives me the ability to put some more shows out where I'm not in the Canon Entertainment studio. Okay. So look for more capes not included. Look for more Have You Seen It Lately? Look for more That Way Cool Wrestling Show. We have that coming up this Saturday, August 3rd. We have TNA, WCW, and WWE commentator Scott Hudson on the show. That's going to be a fantastic show.
I'm looking forward to that one.
It's going to be really good.
And I'll just have to say, because I didn't have a chance really to mention it to you recently, but the episode with Big Vito.
Yes.
I love that episode.
It really was good.
Was such a great episode.
It was more than I thought it was going to be.
So
I'll be perfectly honest. Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, hang out here on the DJB Productions page. Find that Way Cool Wrestling Show episode with Big Vito Lagrasso. It's a great episode, great insight, very entertaining, and a lot of great funny moments in there as well.
But we also talked about a lot of stuff, and like I said, that episode was more than I thought it was going to be. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So, yeah, it definitely was something to watch. You definitely want to check it out. But we have so much stuff on this network, and we're checking it out. So, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell. For LeGrand, who couldn't be with us, for Bobby Taylor, who couldn't be with us, and for my good friend Matt Sunner, who's on the show, my name is Danny J. Until next time, keep your cape in the wind and your eyes to the stars. We'll see you next time, guys. Have a great day.